Good morning and welcome to VW Family Farm. If this is your first time here, my name is Ben, and today we are going to be installing another hot wire, but this one is just to keep cattle out of our pig pen. We've got pigs back here in a section of woods, and the only thing that keeps them in is 2 strands of hot wire. I've got a big paddock here. This is on the side of where we rotationally graze our cattle. And every time we move them up to this area, we're always having to put up a temporary wire. So I'm trying to stop that, give us something less to do. I'm gonna put up a permanent wire, but I'm also gonna use poly wire. And in that, I've ordered some new line posts because down through here, I've used everything from little pieces of rebar like this, up to bigger pieces of rebar like this. We even use some of our step-in posts with pigtails. Some of them have clips on them for another wire halfway down other than the cattle height, like this right here. I don't know where it's at, but we've had an insulator on here before that held that up. I've just always had a hard time with insulators. It seems like they strip out, they pop off. No matter what brand I use, they just don't work very well. Here's another one, and this one's actually got our tensioner on it. This is high tensile wire, so we pull it really tight, so it's hanging up in the air, but that's still not good. You can use insulators in T-posts, that works, but over time those insulators, the sun deteriorates them, UV rays, and they break really easily. This was a bent T-post that I just cut the part that was not bent, put it in here. They're still working at this time, but I have numerous of those break. So what I'm doing also, besides installing another wire for the height of cattle, which is about belly height, waistline, I'm also installing new permanent posts in here. They're insulated line posts from Gallagher. I've never used these before, so I'm kind of curious how they're going to work. What we've got for our whole perimeter is fiberglass posts that we went somewhere and bought, that you just go down through there, drill a hole in them, put a Carter key, and it holds the wire up. But every time that you've got to, everywhere you're going to put a wire, you got to drill a hole in it. There's all different ways of doing it. I'm going to try this one out. But first, I've got to step off this whole perimeter of this thing to figure out which roller wire I'm going to use. So I've got 2 bundles of the insulated line posts. Of course, you're gonna need your post driver to drive these in the ground. And it has been below freezing here for about 4 days now. And it is cold, and I'm afraid the ground's gonna be froze. These are the different rolls of wire I've got. I don't know which one I'm gonna need. Pretty much sure it's not gonna be that one. All right, now after stepping it off, right at 200 meters. If you didn't know, meters, roughly around 3 foot's what I always go with, or a good pace. Okay, so I think I've got everything out here. I threw that down and it busted. This was another roll of wire that come in it. Not gonna be long enough. This 200 meter roll should be right at enough. I may have to splice in just a little one. If you wanna know how to splice them in, right there's the directions on the side of it. You always wanna make sure you got good metal contact with your next roll. The post. Of course, post driver. These are the clips for it, and it will take any size of wire. I brought 2 tensioners down here. I'm probably not going to use this one. This is what we use on temporary, where we go put our cattle in temporary paddocks back in the hay fields during the winter, which we're fixing to do pretty soon. What I'm going to do is I'm going to install a permanent one like it's already on the high tensile wire, but on poly wire. Last but not least, I'm going back to the cheap way of old broken, cracked water hoses. I keep them around just for instances like this, and I'll show you why. I'm not sure that you can see it, but that right there is exactly why I won't use these anymore. Some you buy at the store, but they're breaking down. On about every one of our posts, they're cracked. On a few of them, you can hear it actually popping through the rubber, hitting the post, grounding out. I absolutely will never use those again. I'm going back to water hose. what I'm doing is pretty much going in everywhere there's a rebar stake, replacing it with this. I'm going to go ahead and leave the T-post in there. They're going to be spaced about halfway between. That'll give that high tensile heavy wire some more stabilization. This poly wire isn't going to need very much, and like I said, our cattle, they're so used to the poly wire that if they see it, they're just going to stay away from it. It don't even have to be hot. I'm going to go ahead and get this last one on this run, then I got a few more to go up the side over there, then we'll start stringing wire. All right, here's another example. On the other post, it's cracked all the way through. What I'll probably do here is just cut me a piece of the water hose, slice it in half, slide it on there after slacking these off, and put a piece of water hose on these too, because that one's cracking almost all the way to the pipe. They do got a metal band in there, which in turn will ground it out some more once it cracks all the way through and touches the pipe. I would not recommend those. Here's another prime example. Deterioration from UV rays. That's not good, but it's because of that. Because of the sunlight, they just break down, they get brittle. Now that's grounding out to a ground rod, or would be a post. So with these new posts, even if something like that did happen, you don't have to worry about them shorting out to this. They are not gonna go to ground. Now we've got breakers all up and down our system on posts that I can sit there and turn electricity off of this area or that area over there or that area back there or whatever. But I'm not by that, and I don't want to walk all the way back up there since Lane took the truck. So if you actually get you a good fence charger that comes with this, because there is good fence chargers out there that does not come with this capability, but the new Gallagher charger that we got, I am thoroughly impressed with this, and it's very handy. Watch this. So here's the remote. I can check how much current, voltage. This is your voltage, telling how hot your wire is. This is saying I've got a 3 amp short that way, but watch. I can put it down here on this. Oh, see, it's telling me 11, 12 amp short. Going right here to this pole. Take it off that post. Now I'm hitting 8, 9 kilovolts. Pull it back to the post. It goes down to 4. Not only that is, I just turned the whole system off. So that's not hot. See? Oh! No, I'm just kidding. Not hot. So we will totally do away with this one. Bring it back to the new line post. This right here is how much of that post is going in the ground. Drive it all the way up to where that's flush with the ground. You've got good stabilization in the ground, and you have got multiple places to put your clips. So now we gotta get busy. I'm not going to go between there. That's where we're going to step through to feed when we're not feeding in there. Uh-oh, it's feeding time. They know that truck. But I've got the tensioner out here, but no longer of a run than this is. Like I said, it's a 200 meter roll, 600 feet. That's about what we stretch across this pasture for all of our paddocks for our cows. We don't use a tensioner on that, and it stays plenty tight just using the ratchet geared reels. I think I'm gonna try it. First, I'm gonna try it without it and just make sure. Like I said, this ain't holding the pigs in. This is just to keep the cows from going in here with the pigs, messing anything up or getting out there and getting hurt. So I'm gonna give it a shot. All right, so I think a lot of this is gonna go pretty easy. I did hand stretch that. Looks like I may need to pull it a little tighter up there, but like I said, this right here, probably just as tight as what we get the poly wire when we do our temporary paddocks out in the pasture. And all this is for is to keep the cows out of there. So I'm gonna clip this. I'm gonna go ahead and take those clips off of that one, get that pipe or get that piece of rebar out of there. Probably leave that one down there. And also that one there, like I said, just for more support for this. These heavy, this high tensile wire is definitely a lot heavier than the poly wire. And for sure, we want it to stay up. Don't want to be chasing no little piggies. Never give them the opportunity to get out. Hot fence charger, good tight wire. You should be good to go. Well, in these bags, they come with 20 of them. Well, I'm gonna be doing 3 wires on each post. And I think I put out 8 posts. Always order extra. Put that on there, find your little spot. So you can put this wire here, 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 here. Keep going on up. Another one there. Looks like you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 possibilities on where you can put your wire. So after you put on a couple of these, it starts to really make sense and how much easier it is. I could do it one-handed. You just got to get these little divots on the back of this lined up with these, and that's what I wasn't doing a while ago. I was having to kind of strain a little harder, but once you figure that out, get them lined up, they snap right on. I make mistakes. Even I would call myself an experienced fence builder, but I got in too big a hurry a while ago and was not paying attention. So when if you buy these and install these, pay attention to which way your slots are facing here. I've got them facing totally opposite of the fence. So now I got to try to figure out how to get this thing back up. On a T-post, I could use my post driver and wedge it in the ground, pull it apart. And then, anyway, there's a simple way to pull a T-post out of the ground with a post driver, but I don't know that I can do that with this. I'm gonna see. Once they're in the ground, they're in there good. You definitely want to make sure you put the notches towards where your fence is going to be. All right, we're done. That was actually fairly easy. Starting to get cold out here again. Got another cold front blowing in tonight, so I'm ready to wrap this up. One thing that I did here was I put some extra water hose on here. I'm gonna leave it up next to a post when I'm not using it, and I'm not using it right now, but I was gonna just show you. All right, you got this here and you didn't turn anything off. Right there, you can step over and never get shocked. Just a little tip. Little things like that are handy. I'm probably not gonna have this top wire hot very often, but when I do, if the cows are in here and I need to get in here to the pigs, check their water down there or count them, make sure there's none in here hurt, sick, or whatever, something like that's handy. Yeah, I've got the remote and I usually keep it in the truck, but you just never know. And you may not have a remote to shut your stuff off. You may not have breakers to turn it off up wherever. Just a little tip. And when I'm done with it, I'm gonna put it right back up here. Something else on these posts, when you clip that on there, they've got a good area in there. That way your line can move. If a deer or something runs into it, it's not on there solid. Heating and cooling, these wires, they do move. So all of them will be able to freely move, but they're not gonna come off. All right, so we're done. Time to turn it back on. Of course, you can see nothing there. Turn it on. Well, we got a little bit of a short that way, but I mean, it's still putting out 9.8 kilovolts, 10 kilovolts. That dude's hot. I guarantee you installing these insulated posts helped a lot on a few shorts. Like I said, I probably still got some on these steel corner post that I need to get some pieces of water hose on so they don't short out against it. You might be asking, why did that switch directions? Because the current is flowing that way. It's going all the way down that line, and then it connects back to this bottom wire. Anyway, it's flowing back the opposite way because I guess my short is that way. The current is flowing this way, goes back down, hits this wire, goes back that way, and I've got just a small short, and it's probably down there on that corner post where that broken rubber piece was broken so bad. So what we used was a Gallagher Insulated Line Post. They're permanent. It says semi-permanent, but I'm telling you, once you get them things in there, I just put them in and it's so hard to pull back up. 1140 millimeters. I'm not good with those numbers, so I'm gonna say 5 foot. Of course, use the Gallagher turbo wire. Got some extra. Probably gonna be putting up some more wire around the farm. Need to build another big pig pen like this. That way I can give this one a rest while the next batch is growing up, because we got like 40 more piglets on the ground right now. These are getting close to butcher ready, and the freezer is full. If you had never heard of us, we're VW Family Farm. You can check us out online, Google it. We've got a meat store. We ship all around the lower 48. Do local deliveries to your house, front porch, right here in Central Arkansas. Anyway, hope you learned something today, or at least maybe it was interesting for you. Thank you for watching. Until next time, God bless.